Man, I haven't played Genshin in a while. Surely the characters I got on version 1 should be good enough to play in version 8, you know? Why would they power creep the characters that you spend your good hard earned Prima Gems on? That would just be nonsensical. Let me check. Oh, what's this? Tartaglia, one of the best DPSs back in the day, is now useless. What about Ganyu? She was the best DPS for a really long time. What? She's being power crept by like 5 characters now. That's impossible. Why would anybody do this? My team should still be good all the way back then, right? 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 Hello everyone, Ren here, or Alias, and today I shall talk about power creep. Now, let's get a better angle. Now, what is power creep if you haven't heard? Power creep is basically when a game's newer stuff makes the old stuff in the game irrelevant. Think of the famous clip of Cars 3 where McQueen is fading because the newer cars had better parts and better engines and better everything than he had. Like, yeah, back in his prime, he was the best machine around. But now, with all this new stuff, he is fading, he got outdated, he got power crept. That's right, Cars 3 is an allegory for power creep. Now, my first experience with power creep is in the greatest first-person shooter of all time, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. There was this weapon called the Peacekeeper. If you ever played Call of Duty Black Ops 2, you know about the Peacekeeper. It was basically a submachine gun with assault rifle attributes. It was the best gun in the game. No arguments to be done. Of course, there was the LSET with like the tracker and everything, but that was, very slow, very sluggish. A guy could get the drop on you. The Peacekeeper, you can almost always get the drop on a guy. Granted, it being Call of Duty, it was very situational. So depending on the situation, you might be able to get away with not having the best weapon in the game. So it wasn't that big a deal. Now on the next COD, Advanced Warfare, power crept also happened, but this time in the worst possible way, because it wasn't one weapon, it was every weapon. In Advanced Warfare, every weapon had a variant. It went from like common all the way to elite, and if you heard elite, you better get your hypes up because you're getting most likely a pair of pants. Elite weapons have the best attachments for any weapon, so if you needed a weapon with extended mags, you would usually have to burn one slot. With the Elite, it already came with the extended mags, and you can use the slots for any other attachments that may help you on your gameplay. Now, there was also a DLC weapon. It was an LMG that turned into a shotgun. It was pretty cool. It wasn't the best weapon in the game, though, because Advanced Warfare's mobility made it so it was more about positioning than the weapon you had. Now, that being said, the Elite weapons had an unfair advantage, because if you paid for the latest loot boxes, and if you were paying to win, if you were basically paying to win Call of Duty, then you of course would have the best weapons in the game consistently. And the old loot boxes and the old weapons, the old elites would get power crept by the newer elites that would get released as the game went on. Now we go to the best example of power creep, or I guess the most infamous example, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day, if you played it as a kid, you saw the cards, they had like 1 to 2 lines of description, that's it. It was nice, simpler, every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing when to hold them, and nowadays is buying the latest deck of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the old cards are outdated, they are trash, you will get wrecked any day of the week, 6 ways to Sunday, if you use a card from your childhood. The card descriptions in Yu-Gi-Oh! Have gotten longer, and they are so hyper-specific sometimes, it's like a JoJo stand at some points. No kidding. There are cards that have been banned because if that scenario happened, and players would force it to make it happen because they will work their deck around for that one scenario to happen, they would just automatically win. It was the same reason why Pot of Greed got banned, because people would just run Pot of Greed with Exodia decks and just basically get all the cards and win by default. And finally, at what inspired this video, Genshin Impact. Now, I don't know about other gacha games, but I know about Genshin Impact. It has a kind of a bad habit of power creeping. Now, I don't think it's as bad as other games. And in Genshin, if you just want the story, you don't need to pull for any characters. But if you want to do the fun stuff, then of course you need to pull for characters. Some of my old characters in Genshin Impact at the time were the strongest. Like Tartaglia, he was the best Hydro DPS. He would deal 100k damage on a burst if they were on fire, which was amazing. Even more if you like 100% optimized him. Now he's outdated. He has a long cooldown, and there's a lot of other Hydro DPSs that can do what he does with less setup. One example is Nubulet. Nubulet is arguably, not arguably, he's definitely the best DPS, the best Hydro DPS in the game. And he will kick my Tartaglia's ass 6 ways to Sunday on damage output. Because Tartaglia, you need a very specific team. With Nubulet, you can bend the team around them a lot more. So, that being said, how can we counter this? We really can't. The only way to do it is to tell you to stop playing the game you like. Because developers and game developers and card developers, they will power creep because that's how they keep you in the game. You want the newest card because they're stronger than the older cards. That's how it works. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And who hurts more? Old players. Because the newer players, they won't get power crept too much because they will get the strongest stuff as they're hopping into the hobby. Versus the old players that have been supporting the game all of their life, while the first half of support is now outdated compared to the second half of support. So yes, this has been all. This has been Ren, or Alias. Bye bye.